Hello everyone, this is day 94, building a house every day for 100 days. Let's get it here. I kind of decided to go for like a bit different of a house. Usually I go for these like, kind of like really like fantasy kind of style, like tall roof, kind of like colorful stuff. So I decided kind of like take a different approach here. Probably saw from the thumbnail. So I'm just gonna landscape in, get this like hill, and then where the red is gonna be like a kind of steeper mountain kind of area. Kind of like a cliffside, but you know, pretty small. I don't want too much height on it. The landscape in, obviously these are placeholder blocks for those who haven't seen the channel before. You know, I use world edits to replace it. Just gonna shape in. Kind of get the dirt and the grass. I like the overhang I do on the cliff here. Kind of do a similar one every time, but I feel like it's very simple to have the kind of dirt and the grass overhang a bit. It makes it look way better. Kind of mixing some coarse dirt in there too. Start getting the outline of where I want the house to go. I know with this kind of like L shape. Just testing out the roof. I don't want to do a more like curved, kind of flat roof on this one. Start filling it in. I definitely like, wasn't sure where I was going with this house for most of the build. Like it's kind of like definitely like a trust the process kind of house. Like it looks pretty bad until I'm done with it. So you just gotta keep watching and like, you know, I promise it gets good eventually, even if it's not great now. Use sandstone. Go for this like spruce slab kind of roof on it. Get a couple like overhangs as well. Just kind of break it up. Just getting kind of the shape of everything before I actually fill it in, just to make sure I'm like happy with it. Figuring out where I want the windows to go as well. I know at least the bottom floor, I want to have kind of a lot of windows on it. Just fill everything in here, get the top section all like filled out. Fill the roof in. These like window flower pots, that kind of stuff. I know for the bottom floor, I'm gonna kind of make it more of like a, like less of a house and more of, I wasn't sure if I was gonna do a restaurant or like a shop yet. I do end up settling on kind of a restaurant. Get these kind of overhangs in. It's very like sandstone heavy right now, so I know I'm gonna have to break it up. A lot of windows, a lot of trap doors, fence gates, that kind of stuff. Get this like stone path around it. Move the whole thing back a block just so I have more space in the front. It was kind of too far forward, in my opinion. I'm liking the way it's coming out so far, but there are a few things that I really didn't like. The roof was kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It was on like the wrong height of a slab, so I couldn't like detail the underside of it. So I moved it all up by half a block. Makes a big difference, you'll see in a second. So now I can put these fence gates underneath it. Kind of fills the space up more. It looks just way better, in my opinion. Add some supports for the like overhang. Get some like flower pot things in front of the windows. Still looks pretty bad, but it's starting to kind of come along now. Get more windows on the side. I know at the top to kind of be like a living space, so I put more windows up there. But the windows at the top, I kind of use like glass more on the top, I think. I try not to use too much glass on this one either. I feel like it just kind of like fits better to use other things to fill the windows up. I do the same thing with this roof where I raise it up just to kind of fit details underneath it. So I can put the fence gates, just kind of makes it fit way more. But yeah, it's kind of the shape of the house done, the roof and everything. Start filling in like the windows. I use fences for some of them and I use trapdoors for some of them. I like the mix. I think it looks pretty good. I use glass on the top ones because like the bottom is more of like kind of like an open like eating area. Get this overhang on the back. I just thought the wall looked very empty. It's kind of like the way you have to think when you're building is like you don't want a space to look very like bare and like plain. Like you could usually try to fit something there that makes it unique, like a unique part of the build. You don't want all of it to look too samey. I just put the floor in to kind of figure out the height I want everything to be at, really. Start detailing the walls here, some texturing. Just like normal sandstone mixed in with a smooth. I feel like this really kind of ties the build together. It looked very like flat before, but you know, just a bit of texturing goes a long way. It looks way better now. And I'm pretty happy with it. I'm finally starting to actually like the build because I said earlier it looks very bad most of the time, but it's kind of finally looking decent. I get a lot of greenery on it, like vines and leaves. I feel like it really helps. Just add a bit of color to it, you know. I use some of the azalea, like flowering azalea leaves. Just for a bit of like pink in there. Bunch of vines as well, mostly on the back. But you know, I feel like they look good. Kind of add to the feeling. Some trapdoors, some signs. Just I kind of mix some spruce into the sides of like the sandstone walls. Fill the flower pots up just for some color. Get a bunch of lanterns too for some light in there. And yeah, it's kind of the house itself almost done on the outside at least. I'm pretty happy with it. But this build is kind of more focused on just like the general area around the house as well. Although I do really like the house, I feel like once I get the landscape in, it kind of ties it together a lot better. So I get this kind of like natural, like kind of like spiraled almost, like it just follows the terrain down. I really like the shape I got with this. So I just kind of put stone around it. Again, almost like this like natural formation, and they kind of just made it like into a staircase. I don't know, or like cobblestone stacked up. I'm not really sure, but I like the way it looks. Some tuff on the bottom, up into some cobblestone, like a slight gradient, but I'm not too particular with it. But I think it looks pretty good. Kind of like really helps. Get started with the rest of the landscape here. I like a path in. Just carry the wall down a bit. That looks pretty good. So, you know, mostly cobblestone. I'll make some other blocks in there in a second. Get started on the rest of this build. It's like a, I mean, you haven't put together. It's like a vineyard kind of build, like a winery kind of place, I guess. I really don't know. I think it looks pretty good though. I'm really happy with it. It's one of my favorite houses for sure, I think. I'm not really sure why, but I really like the way it came out. So I get these kind of like plant growing areas for like these berries. I like the red in the berries. The leaves kind of also just make them look more like significant. Just kind of fill the whole space up with these. And like, you know, these paths in the middle with coarse dirt. I come back and texture those in a minute. Do the same thing on the other side here. While I'm building all these like berries and everything, if you're interested, I got a Patreon link down below. I really appreciate it. $3, you get access to every house I built, so you can download this house if you like it, or you know, all of them. It's pretty cool. $8, you get to suggest the next theme. So yeah, I'd really appreciate it. Also got a Discord down below. A lot of cool people in there talking about build and stuff, kind of like build advice, feedback, that kind of thing. So yeah, done with the plugging. Let's go back to the build here. Kind of finished with most of the landscape at this point. Put some like random grass and ferns, just kind of fill the space up. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. Kind of inspired by the CSGO map. It was like a danger zone map. It was vineyard. Kind of a classic. But yeah, it's kind of the outside done. Really happy with it. I get some like chairs around because I want it to be almost like a restaurant as well. Get some chairs, get some tables on the outside. Finally head inside. Pretty simple interior in my opinion. Turn this corner into kind of like the I guess like, you know, food area. Probably should put like a brewing stand maybe. Kind of didn't think of that. Get a ladder up to the second floor, which is like the staff only, I guess kind of living area for like the owner. I got a bunch of tables and chairs in. A lot of flower pots. Kind of carry like the natural theme in here. I want it to feel very open, but it's not even like windows. It's just like trapdoors and fences. Bunch of flower pots, bunch of lanterns. Get the prices up. The food is not $1 million in this one. I'll get some paintings, kind of fill the walls up. That's it for the bottom floor, I think, here. Head upstairs now. Really simple, kind of living space. Just get a bed in the corner, some bookshelves for some like kind of color. When I'm building these interiors, I think of how they look on the outside. So I wanted there to be a lot of light, a lot of color that you could see through the windows. So I get this living space, some carpet, hang some more lanterns up. I like the way they look with the levers, especially since I can't connect them to the ceiling because it's like a slab up there. But yeah, that's about it. Do a couple more small details, but yeah, that's all I got. I'm pretty happy with this build. One of my favorites for sure, I think. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Join the Discord, join the Patreon, you know, all the usual stuff. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.